us in watching THV11 Plus. I'm Jurnee Taylor here with your weekend wrap up. Earlier this week, police revealed newly found DNA evidence, bringing more evidence against the man who police believe kidnapped 6-year-old Morgan Nick in June of 1995. THV11's Rebecca Brown has more on the case that has captivated people in Arkansas and across the country.
You know, there have been an army of supporters and advocates and heroes who have rallied to uncover the truth about Morgan's disappearance, and you see those people here in this room today.
It's a case that has haunted law enforcement, family, and the community with unanswered questions for decades. The search for Morgan Nick has lasted 29 years, but with new technology and a fresh set of eyes, we experienced a new breakthrough.
But we've reached a point where we can concentrate on one suspect to determine the circumstances surrounding Morgan's abduction.
The suspect being Billy Jack Links, who was from Van Buren and was an initial person of interest. Links drove a red pickup truck and was arrested in August 1995 for trying to lure an 11-year-old girl in his truck just weeks after Morgan's disappearance. But he denied at the time having anything to do with Morgan. Chief Pointer says investigators vacuumed Links' truck and discovered DNA evidence, strands of hair that tested proving belonged to someone in the Nick family.
In the wake of this development, we're working to expand our understanding of Links and his activities. This includes, for example, additional interviews and re-interviews of known associates, and locating any additional physical evidence.
Police say Links is the only suspect in their investigation. Those words bringing tears of joy to Morgan's mother, Colleen, who has fought long and hard to see this day.
And what I have to say about Billy Jack Links is that he stole Morgan from me. He stole her from her dad. He stole her from Logan and Taryn. But he didn't see that he could never win. Because our love for Morgan, her memory and her voice outlasted his life.
As for others in the community working behind the scenes, like the Morgan Nick Foundation, which provides families with missing children assistance, they said they will continue to be a resource and ask for anyone with information to help the Nick family.
That can help give this family peace and closure and hope. Whatever it is, I just pray that you will feel in your heart to do that.
And that was Rebecca Brown reporting. Police say this investigation is not over, and they encourage anyone with information about Links or the case to contact investigators. And investigators were able to find some hair in a truck that once belonged to the victim. They sent the hair to a specialty lab in Texas with the hope it could finally help them officially name a suspect. THV11's Ashley Godwin spoke with the founder of that lab to learn how this new technology works.
This is technology that is solving thousands of cases around the world. Othram Lab in Texas is using similar tech you'd find in the medical field, but using it for forensic analysis.
We hope that we live in a world where people don't have to wait decades to find out where their loved one is.
The lab has been operating since 2018, helping thousands of unsolved cases get answers, just like in the investigation of Morgan Nick.
When the FBI tried to build a DNA profile from that hair, they were not able to get enough DNA to build a profile or come to a conclusion.
Othram got involved with the case last December when they were given a hair that was believed to belong to Morgan Nick. It was found in the truck previously owned by Billy Jack Links.
It's contaminated, it's degraded. In this case, it was rootless hair, which made it a lot more hard to work from.
The lab was able to extract DNA from the hair sample. They then built a genetic profile off that DNA and compared it with familial markers to see if there was a match. Once they were able to confirm that match, police were able to confidently say Morgan Nick was in Link's truck at some point.
It's incredible because it's removing uncertainty from the investigation. It's allowing law enforcement to look in a different direction with certainty and know that now they can start trying to figure out, how did she get into that truck? Who helped? Who knew? Where did the truck go?
Morgan Nick has still not been found, and that's where police are focusing the investigation now. They're hoping this latest development will lead to more tips. They're asking anyone with information about Billy Jack Links to call the number at the bottom of your screen. That's 1-800-THE-LOST. Back to you.
The Cersei community is rallying behind one of their own this week. A well-known Taekwondo instructor is in the hospital following a car crash. Now, as THV11's Brooke Buckner shows us, those close to him are coming together to support him during this difficult time.
He's a father figure for those that need it. He's a disciplinary for those when you require it. And he's a wonderful person to just give you a hug when you need that as well.
That's how Dustin Howell describes Fernando Farfan, the owner of Farfan's Taekwondo in Cersei. Master Farfan was critically injured in a wreck early Sunday morning on Highway 67. His wife was killed in the accident. Now his friends, family, and students are praying for his recovery.
He's a fighter, and I know that's exactly what's pushing him through on this. He's got people there supporting him day and night.
The dojo will stay closed this week while the community works to process the tragedy.
We've got some little minds and little hearts that need to wrap around their idea on there that he will get better and come back, just as strong.
But Howell says they have plans to pick up where Farfan left off.
We've got several black belts that are able to step in there and continue to teach class in his absence, as we've done frequently over the time.
And Master Farfan is more than just a Taekwondo instructor. He's a mentor to all of his students, including Howell and his kids.
That's the same story for each of the other students that are here.
Even though it's a difficult time, Howell says he's trying to keep a positive attitude.
Everybody knows his name around here, so all the prayers are welcome to send on his way so he can make a full recovery. We fully plan on operating the dojo and keeping things going after a week here and keeping his dream alive.
In Cersei, Brooke Buckner, THV11 News.
And those at the dojo plan to make a support page for people to donate to medical and funeral expenses. The state Supreme Court will hear arguments in a lawsuit filed by the group looking to expand medical marijuana access in Arkansas. This comes after the Secretary of State refused to count thousands of signatures collected during a care period granted to the group, stopping votes for and against it from being counted in November. THV11's Rebecca Brown breaks down the new development and what it could mean.
This is one of several lawsuits we've seen before, all coming down to that technicality about paid canvassers.
In this instance, both the casino folks and the medical marijuana folks have said, we believe we can delegate that duty. And the Secretary of State said, well, we don't know, and we're going to wait to hear from the Supreme Court. But until we hear from the Supreme Court, we're not going to say that that's permissible.
Secretary of State John Thurston has denied another proposed ballot measure, resulting in the group Arkansans for Patient Access that is seeking to expand marijuana access filing a lawsuit against him. In the lawsuit, APA argued that Thurston wrongfully refused to validate and count signatures because some of the group's paid canvassers were not registered before collecting them. In a statement, the group says it appears that the certification of the medical marijuana amendment of 2024 has been blocked for reasons unrelated to the proposal's merits, with political motives influencing the decision. This afternoon, the state Supreme Court issued a formal order granting 2 of 3 requests from APA. A count of the remaining signatures submitted during a cure period in a speedy decision. Representing Thurston is Attorney General Tim Griffin. In documents sent to us, the AG says Thurston did everything he was supposed to do and, quote, this is purely a question of law. But the problem at hand, Professor of Law Rob Steinbuch says, is a paid canvasser still considered a canvasser or a sponsor.
Whether or not the paid canvassers, the supervisors of the paid canvassers themselves, could make certain certifications, or if that duty was non-delegable from the person who had submitted the initial ballot question. And that has not been resolved.
In Little Rock, Rebecca Brown, THV11 News.
A legal battle is brewing in Georgia ahead of November's election over whether ballots should be counted by hand. The Georgia State Election Board passed a rule requiring the number of ballots cast to be counted by hand. Democrats filed a lawsuit Monday hoping to block it. In the last 4 years, 11 states have attempted hand counting in local elections or introduced legislation requiring a hand count. But as Major Garrett reports in this week's Eye on America, there's no evidence it's more reliable.
For the last year, Mark Cook has been preaching a kind of low-tech election-doubting gospel in communities across the country.
But we're told, trust the machine, and that is a way to manipulate an election.
Traveling by RV, Cook and his Hand Count Roadshow are part of an election conspiracy movement that's been growing since 2020. One that claims that voting machines can be hacked and manipulated, meaning the only voting system to be trusted is an old-fashioned hand count.
Well, hello everyone. I'm back.
On this night last year, Cook is in deep red Gillespie County, Texas.
0.1% of Texas still hand counts.
He convinced Republicans here, who run their own primaries, to join the small minority that hand count. Hundreds of volunteers stayed at places like this wine bar until 4:30 in the morning to count roughly 8,000 votes, with numerous errors.
We only have 13 precincts, 12 of which turned in final tally sheets that were inaccurate. We sort of began.
Jim Riley oversees elections in Gillespie County. Is there an actual problem here that needs to be solved by hand counting?
No. The hand counting, in my opinion, did nothing to improve elections in the county.
Riley, a Republican, says Gillespie's systems were already top-notch. Paper ballots tallied by a state-approved scanner and then verified for accuracy. As much as you've opened up transparency, it still, for some, hasn't been enough.
No, and for some it won't ever be enough.
Something didn't smell right.
Mo Saidi was the Republican chair of Gillespie County when the Hand Count Roadshow came to town.
And nobody provided a single iota of evidence. It was just this perception that if it's plugged into the wall, they're subject to hacking.
Frustrated by his party's decision, Saidi resigned.
So we're chasing this elusive problem that never existed.
Numerous studies have shown hand counts to be less accurate, more costly, more time-consuming. But that hasn't stopped Cook from preaching. In Michigan, we tracked down his RV to ask him some basic questions. He drove away. And again, in Pennsylvania. Major Garrett, CBS News. Will you have any time to talk to me?
Oh, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking.
No, I know. Beforehand.
No.
He wouldn't speak to us, but is a regular on right-wing podcasts.
The day after the election through January 20th, if you thought 2020 was nasty, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Even in the wake of Gillespie County's hand count ordeal, the hardened hand count faction is flooding county meetings demanding change before November. In retrospect, the hand count experience here has been a net what?
I think it's a net loss. If you don't like hand counting, you're evil.
Evil over what Gillespie County officials now say was a solution in search of a problem, and a cautionary tale for hand count advocates everywhere. For Eye on America, Major Garrett in Gillespie County, Texas.
And as the October 7th voter registration deadline approaches, we have everything you need to get registered for the upcoming election in one spot. Just text the word VOTE to 501-376-1111 and we'll send a link to our voter guide straight to your phone. There's an app gaining attention aimed at teaching the importance of money. Just ahead, details on how kids can benefit. Meanwhile, this week's Verify is pretty cheesy, if you ask me. Cheese dip is a staple at Tex-Mex restaurants across the country with roots here in Arkansas, though some Texans are pushing back on that claim. So THV11's Karen Fuller is here to set the record straight on the origin of that gooey golden goodness.
Arkansas is known across the country for the beautiful outdoors, the home of the Razorbacks, and the delicious snack we lovingly call cheese dip, a creamy concoction that's part of the natural state's food culture. But believe it or not, there's actually controversy over whether cheese dip truly originated in Arkansas. Some Texans claim the Lone Star State served it first. So, who's right? Let's verify. For the scoop on cheese dip, we turn to Kat Robinson, an Arkansas food historian and author, and the history of Mexico Chiquito on its website. Cheese dip, as we know it today, is the creation of Blackie and Margaret Donnelly, founders of the Mexico Chiquito restaurants in the 1930s. But some people claim since the Donnellys were both Texans who opened the first Mexico Chiquito in the Lone Star State in 1936, that cheese dip must have started there, right? Wrong. According to Kat Robinson, with 17 years of research on Arkansas foods under her belt, she says the Donnellys had a home in Hot Springs as early as 1935, and the cheese dip was first served when the couple would entertain guests.
In 1935, a couple by the name of Blackie and Margie Donnelly lived down in Hot Springs, and they used to have a restaurant there called Little Mexico, but they also had dinner parties, and it's at one of these dinner parties where they introduced this dip that they came up with, which was created with cheese and spices, and they called it cheese dip.
Mexico Chiquito's website also explains the history of the Donnellys and the origin of the delicious dip. Kat Robinson says the Texas version of cheese dip is referred to as queso, the Spanish word for cheese. She says theirs is simply that, melted cheese, and far different from the cheese dip the Donnellys served to guests in Arkansas.
Cheese dip, as we know it in Arkansas, starts off with a roux. That's flour and butter that is incorporated together in a skillet. Then you add your ingredients, your milk, your cheese, your spices, and you build upon that. That's cheese dip.
So we can verify that, yes, the real cheese dip is in fact an Arkansas culinary creation. Take that, Texas. Though it should be noted, the origins of queso go all the way back to Mexico.
Car crashes are the second leading cause of death for kids 4 to 10 years old. And a new study finds that many children that age are not being kept in a booster seat that could save their life. Danya Backus explains.
Both of them were very loving. They always greeted me with a hug and a kiss.
Valerie Bailey Hearns lost her grandchildren, Knowledge and Kingston, last year. The boys and their mother were killed when an SUV smashed into their car. Neither child was in a car seat.
Knowledge was entrapped in the car, and Kingston was ejected from the car.
According to Safe Kids Worldwide, 344 children ages 4 to 10 died in vehicle crashes in 2022. Nearly 2 out of 5 were not properly restrained. Many kids that age need a booster seat, but a new study shows 4 out of 5 caregivers moved their child from a booster seat to just a seatbelt alone before the child was big enough.
Parents don't always understand the purpose of a booster seat. It's kind of in the name. It's a booster seat. It boosts you up so you fit the adult seatbelt correctly.
Morag Mackay from Safe Kids says children should be at least 4'9" before being taken out of a booster. If a seatbelt is not correctly positioned, it can cause serious neck and abdomen injuries in a crash.
And so we really encourage parents to ensure that they're buckling up their child every ride.
Communities nationwide hold events like this to help parents make sure they have the right seat and that it's properly secured.
I'm glad that you're here today.
Valerie started her own charity that not only educates parents, but also gives away car seats.
Maybe I help one family, and maybe save one child, or just kept somebody from experiencing this pain.
Valerie believes saving a child's life is the best way to honor the memory of her own grandchildren. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Research from Safe Kids Worldwide also finds that booster seats can reduce the risk of serious injury by 45% compared to seatbelts alone. A new class at one high school is mandatory for all freshmen to take. What they're learning coming up. And it's never too early to start learning about the importance of cash. Jane Morrell has more on how an app is designed to give kids an early start at grasping the idea.
It's called Busy Kid and teaches children as early as 5 years old about earning and saving money. Founder Greg Merced says he started the app when he was trying to teach his kids about money.
I needed to figure out a way to teach our kids essentially 2 primary things: how to work and earn money, and then once you get the money, how do you manage it in a way that's going to set you up for success in the future.
Merced's app aims to do that by instilling a work-money connection, which for kids involves doing chores.
They've got to understand that money comes from working. I've searched high and low. I haven't found a job where you can sit around and do nothing and still get paid. That doesn't really, occur in the real world. So you got to make that work money connection.
Merced says once they earn the money, it's then about teaching them to be smart with it.
If they just earn it and burn it all, then they're not getting anywhere. They're just spinning their wheels. You've got to teach them a balanced financial approach. Once they earn it, they need to save and invest some of that money.
Once they've saved some, then they can use the rest for something fun.
You've got a boy who just can't get enough of sports and just wants to go to, professional baseball games all the time. Great. Let them earn the money to go to the game and to buy the hot dog and the peanuts and all that. Just figure it out and then they'll run with it.
Merced says he hopes this will also help kids realize that every dollar matters.
You go out to dinner as a family, let them help you pay the bill, right? Like let them help you figure out the tip and all the things. Be more transparent, and they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it cost us $70 to go out to dinner tonight. And to earn $70, it takes me 3 weeks, scooping dog poop and cleaning the car and doing all this stuff. Their eyes will start to open.
Merced says with a little practice, your kids can become experts.
If you want to get good at something, the old adage, right? You got to practice. If you want to get good at basketball or dance or whatever, you got to do it a lot. Same thing with money. You've got to learn how to earn it and then manage it properly. And the next thing you know, you're going to be pretty good at it.
With all respect to everybody's grandmama out there, you better come down to Nene's because she's got you beat. And that's just a simple fact of it. It is always great to be back home. I am in Cabot this week at Nene's. This downtown location has wonderful lunch specials, and they've got cookies that'll make you call your grandma and say, where in the world have we been? What do you say? Let's eat it up.
It was always a dream of mine to open a business, and I partnered that dream with my wife Tanya's passion of cooking. And we came together and opened Nene's Dishes. Let's pursue this dream and fulfill it,
How did you get the name Nene's?
Well, it's really inspired by our grandson, Jordan.
Does he come in here, love it, absolutely love it?
Oh yeah, super proud of us, the light of our lives. For 2 years in a row, we've won Best Chicken and Dumplings in Arkansas. Yeah, it's so they're amazing. We do the Nene's Cooler, take home heat and eat meals. We saw a need in the community. It's perfect for people to just pop in, grab a heat and eat meal, take it home, pop it in.
Talk me through the story, because this isn't just taco salad for anything. I mean, this is special. This means a lot to a lot of folks here.
It does. So on Thursdays in Cabot, if you knew where Knight's grocery store was at, they did taco salad on Thursdays. When I opened, one of my big things were, I'm going to do taco salads on Thursday. So I actually called Miss Knight herself and asked her to come up, and I asked her if it was okay if we did that. And she was very honored. And that's why Nene's does this on Thursday.
Well, and as somebody who grew up here, remembers Knight so fondly too, this is such an amazing way to feed people, and we remember her.
Right, that is true.
We continue the incredible legacy of the Knights. This is so wonderful to be able to come home and have again. And I gotta tell you, this is about to taste like 2004, and I'm pretty fired up about it. Oh, it's so good. I feel like a kid again. Chicken salad on that croissant, chicken salad Friday. What is it about the grapes in there? Just makes it perfect. On a croissant too. Here's your Cabot Panther cookie, dark chocolate cherry, red, black, and white, 555. Cabot throws the ball now. Can you believe this? They throw it forward. So much has changed since I left here. This is unbelievable. Y'all know me and the peanut butter. I was getting a lot of hype. Halloween got here early. If y'all come to my front porch, this is all I'm giving you. I'm not giving you anything else on October 31st. Oh, there's gonna be so many people here on Thursday at lunch. So many people. They were like, I'm from Conway, I'm from Cersei, I'm from Benton, I'm from Bryant. You from Cabot? No, I just came here on Thursday for the taco salad because Hayden told me to do it.
A new class at Magnet Cove High School in Malvern is mandatory for all freshmen to take. Calculators and big textbooks aren't needed for this course, just a listening ear. Here's an inside look at freshman seminar. The first 9 weeks of school is rounding out at Magnet Cove High School. Learning expectations and classroom objectives have been made clear to students.
That's almost the amount of control we have over life,
including in freshman seminar. This week, the new high schoolers are learning about stress.
I describe the class to a lot of people as a class that your grandpa might teach, and so I'm just missing a rocking chair and something to whittle. And so it's really just here's how to navigate life, here's how to make it through life.
The course taught by Dr. Tommy Green is mandatory for all freshmen. It tackles everything from basic life skills like stress, budgeting, insurance, taxes, history of the city and school, but often most important, how to be a decent student in person.
Our kids aren't ready for high school. And so there are some things that we could do as teachers to be more inclusive and take a more holistic approach to education than just books.
At the beginning, I thought the class was going to be really hard because it's essay after essay. But now, it's actually really fun and quite easy. Even though it's been 9 weeks, he's always been a big part of my life.
The course has become a favorite for many parents and staff, but it's Dr. Green who makes this neat concept worth learning for students.
How he just role models himself as how we should act and how he shows us the compassion that he has for us. He will tell you the truth, and he will, and I feel like sometimes we really need that, you know, sometimes we are not correct and sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay.
While Dr. Green also serves as the civics and history teacher, shockingly, this is only his 3rd year of teaching, spending decades pastoring in his community.
Spent most of my ministry in a full-time ministry position, and now I'm in a different ministry, still pastoring a church, but it's a different thing.
But the new career, he says, has been one of the greatest decisions that he's ever made, having an impact on shaping the future.
Either fight, flight, or freeze.
And although there's no rocking chair at the front of this room, students are welcome to gather around to learn lessons taught in love.
It's not about history, it's not about economics, it's not about civics. I hope at the end of the day they look back and they say, that guy cared about me.
Dr. Green says about 30 or 40% of their students are going to go to college. The rest go to trade school or straight into the workforce. So it's imperative they learn how to navigate life as soon as they can. Thank you for watching the Weekend Wrap Up. I'm Jurnee Taylor. We'll see you next week.